Hey guys, what's up? I am back with another video today, and today I am doing my Lions mock draft. So as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me get to 150 subscribers before the end of the month of February. I am only 13 subscribers away. Please help me at that goal. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below. I am a Bears fan, so you may think I'm a little biased, but I try to get away my biases and put them towards making a good video and a quality opinion for you guys. So make sure you do that right now, and make sure you subscribe. Help me at 150 subscribers before the end of the month of February, and let's get started. So this mock draft does include one trade. Just so you guys know, I have 3 Bears mock drafts if you want to check any of that out, and I will have a Packers and Vikings mock draft coming out later this week. So this mock draft includes one trade, and it is the Lions trading the 7th overall pick to the Jets for the 23rd, the 34th, and the 86th overall picks. I thought this was a good trade because it gave me a lot of trade value to address a lot of issues rather than just one issue. The player that I probably would have gone with the 7th overall pick was Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah or Micah Parsons. I think that both linebackers addressed one of the biggest issues on the Lions, which is the linebacking issue. I think that they need a lot of pass rush. I think that front 7 in particular is one of the weakest parts of the team. They don't have very good pass rush. They don't have an extremely good run-stopping defense, but it's better than their pass rush, and their linebackers kind of contribute to that. So I think a player like Micah Parsons or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, whether it's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah using kind of as a rover and an outside linebacker type of guy, or whether it's a Micah Parsons and kind of use him more as a Mike, or kind of an outside linebacker that uses more of a pass rush, just depending on what system is implemented under the new regime in Detroit. So I traded that, and I'm like, Well, I was very happy with the trade because with the 23rd overall pick, I was able to get Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. I was super duper happy with this pick because technically he comes out as an offensive tackle. You could put him in as a guard if you want, but this immediately addresses the issue in the Detroit Lions system of a need at, I think, right tackle or left tackle if you want to put him there. But I think the more immediate and pressing need would be at right tackle. Fill that spot in and really start to build this offensive lineup. It was already a good running team last year. The passing game was more improved from previous years. But I think the pass protection with an improved running game with Rashawn Slater, a possible top 10 pick, but he fell all the way to 23 because none of the teams needed him. So I was super happy with that. The other guys that were there were Isaiah Ojihariye, defensive end out of Georgia. I want to have a exclaimer or a proclaimer here or whatever it is. If I say any names wrong, please correct me in the comment section. I don't mean it at all. I'm sorry. And also, if you have any comments, if you would take any of these guys ahead of Rashawn Slater, please tell me in the comment section down below. Another one was Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. I thought about taking Kadarius Toney just because Kenny Golladay looks like he's on his way out, so the Lions may need a wide receiver. But I'm like, I'll probably address it with the later picks in my draft, which I did. So I did address the wide receiver position before you jump on that. There was Alex Leatherwood, an offensive tackle out of Alabama. I picked Rashawn Slater because he has a little bit more versatility, and he, I think, is a better overall player. Nick Bolton, linebacker out of Missouri. I thought about taking Nick Bolton, but I'm like, if I passed on a linebacker before, I think I can wait on that. So I'm like, I think it would be better to take an offensive tackle here. I kind of regretted that now looking back on it, and then you just have to go with the best player available, and I thought that was definitely Rashawn Slater. One other player was Joseph Asowi, defensive end out of Texas. Again, if I'm saying any of these names wrong, kind of hard to pronounce. I have a hard name to pronounce. It's Reichley. So I totally understand. With the 31st 34th overall pick, I picked Jalen Phillips, defensive end out of Miami. I thought this pick really addressed the need of defensive end and edge rush for the Lions, because the Lions had one of the worst edge rushing teams in the league. They had a really hard time at getting to the Bears, and especially a Bears' weak offensive line at the beginning of the year and at the midway point of the year. I think they had a harder time. So I think you really need to get some edge rush in there. I love Julian Ofora, but I don't think that he is the answer here. I think that you kind of need a star guy, and I think Jalen Phillips, he may not be a star in the league, but he definitely has the potential to be. And then with the 41st overall pick, or one more second, the other players that were available, the next 5 picks, were Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota, Richard Grant, safety out of UCF, Creed Humphrey, center out of Oklahoma, Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia, and Jason Awowi, defensive end out of Penn State. So I thought that, and when you go through this list, I thought that Jalen Phillips was a better defensive end than Jason Awowi out of Penn State. I thought that the center position wasn't very important with Creed Humphrey, and I thought cornerback didn't need to be addressed this early with more pressing needs, whether it was cornerback or safety. I think that there were more pressing needs in the front 7 rather than the secondary. With the 41st overall pick, I picked Terrence Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. I thought he would be a great addition to the team. You really need a wide receiver here, so I thought that Terrence, kind of a fringe first-round pick, probably more likely second-round pick. I thought this was a great value for him. I thought that this was a perfect slot, and I thought that the Lions would be able to implement him in a system and really help out Jared Goff in the upcoming season. There in the other available players, there were Jalen Mayfield, offensive tackle out of Michigan, Landon Dickerson, center out of Alabama, Patrick Jones, defensive end out of Pitt, and Pete Warner, linebacker out of Ohio State, and Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle out of Texas. And the reason why I didn't pick the 2 offensive tackles in the center was because I didn't think that you should spend 2 of your top 3 picks addressing an offensive line that is already decently good in running game protection and passing game protection. But I do kind of contradict myself there, but here's the reasoning why. At the 72nd overall pick, I picked Liam Eichenberg, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. And the reason why I picked Liam Eichenberg is I'm like, man, this is the 3rd round here, and I have an offensive tackle that could go all the way in the 1st round, and who is a plug-and-play guy. And now you can plug Rashad Slater either at a guard position or at left tackle. Or you could slide Liam Eichenberg at left tackle. I think that this would be a great addition to the Lions, and this would really shore up the offensive line, making it probably one of the more dominant units in the NFC North and probably the second most dominant to the Packers. Even if the Packers take a step down, they are still probably a top 3 unit, so it's going to be kind of hard to beat them. But I think this would be a step in the right direction. The other available picks were Dylan Radson, offensive tackle out of North Dakota State University, Walker Little out of Stanford, he was an offensive tackle, Elijah Molden, cornerback out of Washington, Tylan Wallace, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, and Michael Carter, running back out of North Carolina. I just thought here that I think out of Dylan Radson and Walker Little, I thought that Liam Eichenberg was the most capable of all of them. I think he has the highest floor out of all of them and is able to start immediately rather than have to take steps from protect. He's able to protect Jared Goff at the very beginning and not in a couple of years. So that is the 72nd overall pick. And then the next pick that I have here is Andre Cisco, safety out of Syracuse. I thought this was a great addition. I think that safety was kind of lacking, so I thought I think this is a 3rd round pick, would really be able to address the needs of the safety position. This is a 4th round pick. Really be able to address the needs, and I think Andre Cisco would be a great addition. Syracuse, Syracuse had a great secondary this year. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys opted out, like Andre Sisco, and their cornerback that I am not even going to try to pronounce his name, but his first name starts with an I, and his last name starts with an M. But you can look him up. He's a cornerback out of Syracuse. Great player, but he's going to go in a high second round rather than the start of the fourth. The only player before him, after him, was Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. I just thought that a more pressing need was safety, even though I love Kenneth Gainwell as a prospect. I think that Andre Sisco is a better pressing need. And with the 88th overall pick, I picked Tommy Tremble, tight end out of Notre Dame. And before you guys call me homers for Notre Dame, I do want to say that Tommy Tremble, the reason why I picked him is I want him to be the Lions' Kyle Juszczyk. I think that he would be a great addition to the Lions. I think that you would really be able to pound the rock, especially with the additions of Rashawn Slater, Liam Eichenberg, and Tommy Tremble. You would be able to really pound the rock. And with Jace Stenenberg inside, I really think that'd be a great offensive line and something that you could kind of implement like the 49ers and the run-first offense. And I think that would extremely help Jared Goff in his first year in Detroit. The players behind Tommy Tremble was Ramondre Stevenson, running back out of Oklahoma, Jackson Carman, offensive tackle out of Clemson, Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, Dynami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina, and I just thought that for the two wide receivers, I thought that it would be really great to get a fullback for the system and really make it a ground and pound thing. And I didn't think that Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, was really the proper fit, or neither Dynami Brown for this Lions team. And I thought that Ramondre Stevenson, the Lions don't need another running back, and Jackson Carman, we already have two offensive tackles drafted. Cameron, with the 106th overall pick, I picked Cameron McGrone, linebacker out of the hometown Michigan Wolverines. I thought this was going to be a great pick because you could add to the linebacking depth for the Lions that is much needed in this draft. I think that this would be a great pick, especially with some depth that I think would be a great pick. The other players that were available were Peyton Turner, defensive end out of Houston, Ben Cleveland, guard out of Georgia, Davis Mills, quarterback out of Stanford, and Seth Williams, wide receiver out of Auburn. I really think that this guy would have been the best improvement, especially to a weak linebacking core that Detroit has. So finally, I have my final pick, the 140th overall pick. I picked quarterback Jamie Newman out of Georgia University. I thought this was a great pick because Jamie Newman is going to be a great value for whoever selects him. I think that he will be able to really, really improve whatever team he is on. And he had so much talent, a fringe first-round pick coming into this year, but after he opted out of the season, the hype has really fallen off him. To a degree, he hasn't had it as much as Trey Lance has, but Trey Lance has kind of fallen off a little bit. And some people even have Trey Lance as a fifth quarterback rather than a third quarterback coming into this year. I really think that Jamie Newman took a massive drop, but he still has the potential he had at the beginning of the season. Other players that were available then were Divine Diablo, safety out of Virginia Tech, Whop Phillier, wide receiver out of Indiana, Kerry Vincent Jr., cornerback out of LSU, and Jared Patterson, Buffalo running back. I really think that quarterback was a pressing need here with the Jared Goff being the quarterback right now. I thought that you really kind of needed a backup there. I think that Jamie Newman would be a great pickup and possibly a guy that could be like a Jalen Hurts and start this year and maybe even better than his future than his top guy. So as always, make sure to hit the two videos down below and hit the subscribe button up here. Please help me get to 150 subscribers. If you enjoy this video, share it with your friends and family. And as always, leave a like for others to enjoy this content. Comment all your thoughts and opinions. And have a great day. Bye.